Turning left and right. Turning left and right. Road course time. Left and right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the OCRP ARCA series tonight. You know them from the Cup series of last season. Here they are tonight in the ARCA cars this season for season 11. And we are going road course racing tonight for the Thunder Valley ARCA Rally. And what a name that is indeed. My name is Jeff Favignano. I'm joined by the wonderful Joe Cortez. Joe, are you ready to turn right tonight?
I don't know how to do that.
I don't either, but I think they'll figure it out. How about a Carpenter on the pole as of right now? We have 3 minutes and 53 seconds left in the drivers' meeting, but that is how they're stacking up right now, and we will get you that driver's or the starting grid before too late. Now, this is a road course, so I'll be honest, had some drinks before we started this because I know for a fact, Joe, we've done road courses and we usually fall asleep up here.
Well, first off, we're in the middle of Ohio, all right? Having spent a decade there, there's nothing in Ohio. There's nothing in mid-Ohio, not even people in mid-Ohio. There's the Ohio State University, and that's it. So, of course, we're going to fall asleep. That being said, this is, of all the road courses in all the world, to pick this one is less of a test of a driver and more of a statement on the car. This is a car that, you know the meme goes, F around and find out.
Yes.
At any other road course, they would be effing around and finding out. At this road course, they have a lot more leniency. They have a lot more ability to use the track. This is more of a statement on the car than it is a quality of driver. But that being said, with all these great drivers on the field,
having said that, if you're
Carpenter, Graham,
Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld, having said that, there you go. Much better.
Thank you. Having said that, Carpenter, Favignano, Graham, Gould, that's over your top five. This is really anybody's race to have. This is not a race where we're going to see Favignano, Graham battling it out the whole time. You have an incredible lineup, and a road course like this is a great equalizer because it is a mid-level course. Because you have so many great drivers who can run this course competitively, you've got a lot of great opportunities to watch some guys go green flag racing.
Well, I got to say a big thanks to everybody watching live on Twitch right now. Well, this is no commentary in the chat or chat interaction, must I say. But
speak for yourself.
Speak for myself. Thank you guys so much for being here and watching the streams and watching the races live. But everybody on Favignano Live as well. Hey, we're having some drinks tonight because guess what? It's road course racing. We already know we're going to see somebody out front and be like, okay, that person's still in front. Where are the battles on the track? It's going to be hard to follow that. Now, last week, we were in Michigan. Jonathan Orendorff got the checkers there, got the win. Not able to make tonight's race because of PC issues have struck him again. Talk about a perfect timing for him to get his PC running enough to get the win last week. He will not be here tonight. Neither will be Brandon Buggs. A lot of drivers electing to not make it because they said, well, the car is not drivable on this track. So it should make it very interesting indeed. But let's talk about points for a second. We know that Wes Graham had the race suspension after Irwindale. Here he comes back again with a vengeance in third right now, as we see on the qualifying session here. But he is still leading the points currently right now. Leonard Favignano creeping in on the second spot. The Nick Sargent, Jason Lance, Mitchell Calvin, Nick Gould, Austin Johnson, Kyle Carpenter, Robert Bearder, Alexander Reno, James Hilton, and Brandon Buggs. Right there. So the biggest movers in the last race were Brandon Buggs and Mitchell Calvin, both gaining 3 points for the championship. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how that works. Nick Sargent given that EOL penalty last week. We're going to see how this all comes to fruition tonight. But my eyes are on Carpenter. And how about Favignano? Favignano is so strong at Sonoma. We might see that again here tonight, Joe.
Let's not leave anything to doubt. Let's not leave anything for up for discussion. It's still anybody's race, and anybody can make this make this work tonight. This is going to be a race that's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see a lot of people battling the car, and more importantly, you're going to see them battling the track. I say this is a mid-level track, but it is definitely something you don't want to mess with. 13 turns all the way around. After that first 90-degree left turn, they will go through a 180-degree turn at the keyhole, crossing the start line the old start line at turn number 3, then going past China Beach into the S's, then back around turn number 9 for Thunder Valley before they hit the carousel and hit the start finish line. 13 turns around this long course. It'll be a lot of fun tonight. It's definitely going to be a good time. Let's put it that way.
I gotta say, when it comes down to watching the drivers that are going to be on the pole tonight, well, the 77 of Kyle Carpenter, not a surprise after the season that he has had in this ARCA car. What a great time. But Joe, I'm kind of worried we might run out of Smokey and the Bandit puns tonight.
It's definitely possible. I am a little afraid. I haven't watched the movie in a while. I don't have the soundtrack, so you'll forgive me if I use other trucking jokes in the meanwhile.
Well, my hat blew off, Daddy. I hope your goddamn head was in it, because we have the 77 on the pole tonight, and that is going to be someone to watch for sure. But don't count out the 67. So strong at Sonoma. Drove it 7 seconds ahead of the field to get it done. No full course cautions tonight. Unfortunately, that is an iRacing thing. That is not a NASCAR thing and or the ARCA series. But we're going to get your starting grid going here. We have a lot of time to get it done, but we might as well start right here on the pole. Kyle Carpenter going to be leading them off with Leonard Fodorero on the outside in the second spot.
Before we get to row number 2, just real quick, chat. 15 seconds left in this hype train. You know what to do. Let's get this race started off right. Show that love to Jeff for putting together this race for you tonight. You know what to do. Now, row number 2, the return of Wes Graham on the inside of the 88. On the outside of him, the 14 of Nick Gould.
I think we're racing already. I don't think we get a starting grid because I think they screwed us over on that. But Kyle Carpenter out front right now, holding them off. Sorry about that. That's an iRacing thing. We have to just go with what iRacing gives us, which is usually garbage sometimes, and that's what we're dealt with tonight. But how about Kyle Carpenter out front? Wes Graham on the outside right now, trying to make it work and challenging for that position in second with Leonard Fodorero.
Jeff Favignano dropping the hard bombs tonight. Get ready for some fun racing over the next 50 laps here at Mid-Ohio. Eastbound and down your leader goes, and he's got a lot of line people as he comes around China Beach for the first time tonight into the Essence.
And you can see right there, Fodorero is not too far behind. Neither is Wes Graham. Right now, you want to let you know you're going to be racing against the track. That's just how it works here. At a road course with no cautions going to be coming out. It's you versus the track and everything that you can do. You can't make those mistakes. Carpenter right now holding them off.
Holding them off very well as they come down Thunder Valley out of the S's into Thunder Valley. Kyle Carpenter showing with the strength of it now through the carousel for the first time tonight. And unless something crazy happens, Kyle Carpenter will walk away with lap number 1, leading lap number 1.
Yeah, about to complete lap number 1 right there. And you see where Carpenter, Fodorero, Graham, Gray, Gould, Essery, Schultz, Lance Evans. How about Rick Evans in the 9th position? Doing a good job holding his position with a top 10 start. We have some smoke back there. Might have been Austin Johnson with some issues there. He is falling off the pace.
He may have had some issues in that number 21 Dodge Charger. Interesting to see what he does. Let's see how he's able to recover. Meanwhile, everybody, a new leader up front, the 67 of Leonard Fodorero, dropping some clues on the rest of the field, able to get in front of him before they get around to China Beach. He starts second. He will now take up first, and into the keyhole they go. He wants to take an early lead on this race.
I'm watching back here by Kyle Cleveland and Mitchell Calvin in 15th and 16th, fighting a good position here right now. Good battle, the only battle on the track right now. But out front, no surprises. Leonard Fodorero, so dominant at Sonoma. Talk about having a driver that is a road course racer as Mitchell Calvin goes off the track into the grass, trying to hang on to it. And that is the 89 of James Hilton behind him, trying to hang on as well.
Early evasive maneuvers by Hilton. He will stay at the back of the field. Meanwhile, up front, Favignano holds on to a lead, but not by much as they go through the carousel for the second time. Only a half second between Favignano, Carpenter, a second between Favignano, Carpenter, and Graham. And look who else is in the mix. Charles Gray, the 87 machine, Cold War, trying to make some noise here tonight.
Yeah, Charles Gray, one of those drivers that did really well at Michigan and just got caught up in some nonsense there, but an incredible road course racer. And we're seeing the difference there between guys that have been on the iRacing service as long as they have and how good they are with a road car versus a stock car. And then when you mix them together, I really think it comes down to talent. And man, what can you say about Charles Gray other than that he's a great driver? But out front, Leonard Favignano now pulling away with a 0.6 on the 77 of Carpenter and starting to walk away.
Slowly starting to walk away, but all it takes is one misstep as they come around China Beach to change that. All it takes is one misstep, not even thinking about it, before that all changes and he goes around. So Favignano in a good spot right now, but it can all change at the drop of a hat. All it takes is, as you see him bobble the wheel there, all it takes is one slip of a concentration through Thunder Valley. All it takes is one misstep through the S's, and the next thing you know, you're going for a ride and watching everyone else getting around you.
And while we're on board with Favignano, we're going to keep an eye on what he's doing behind the wheel. Not only wheeling that thing around this track and how difficult it is to get this ARCA car around here at Mid-Ohio, but look at the gears. Third gear right here, 125 miles per hour into the first corner. Down into second gear, picks up the gas right here, about 7,000 RPM almost before jumping into third. Fourth, now here's the hard braking zone, and you can just see how smooth he is on his braking inputs, and that's what puts him above a lot of other drivers, is just knowing how you manage this car around this track.
Well, especially because this car is so finicky. They call them ARCA brakes for a reason. You hit them too hard, you're going to start slipping and sliding and going all over the place as we follow along with the 94 of Schultz in that Rainbow Warrior machine. No, check that. That's going to be the 43 of Brown as he goes around the carousel for the fourth time tonight. They call them ARCA brakes for a reason. If you hit them too hard, if you skid them, if you go sliding, you're gonna go take a ride in that car, and you'll need one of those two quick repairs, and that's not a pleasant experience.
No, and you're watching Favignano right now. He's struggling a little bit in the back end of the track, and Carpenter's able to make up a lot of time on him during that. And we're going to keep an eye on this because he's not really pulling away right now. He's just maintaining that speed.
No, he doesn't need to pull away right now either. As you see Smokey get up on his tail, he's gonna ram him. He's gonna rush him. He's gonna keep that.
Yeah, he's not gonna run. He's not arrested until he's in jail.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. He just wants to do what needs to be done. He's got a long way to go and short time to get there, Kyle Carpenter. But right now, he seems like he just wants to stay on his back bumper. Just watch him as he does everything. Right now, if you're that top three, there's no urgency. There's still 46 laps left to go. There's still plenty of time to make those moves. So right now, you're just kind of getting the car warmed up. You're keeping the tires hot, and you're waiting for Favignano to make that mistake and open that door for you to get around. Where I see him passing is either in the S's or through Thunder Valley.
Yeah, in Thunder Valley right now, you can see he's not able to pull away too much here. And Wes actually gains a lot on the 77 through these sections. And you can just see how different the elevation is right here. The car gets very light on you. You have to drive it very, very hard, but you have to be so patient on the throttle. That is the biggest thing right now. But only a half second between Favignano and Carpenter.
Around China Beach and through the S's they go. And you're absolutely right. Throttle management is so critical right here. Throttle management, brake management is what's really important and what keeps these cars stable around this gigantic road course. Through the carousel, once again, Favignano will lead. Carpenter, Graham, Gray, and Chavez Esser, your top five. And
to tell you the truth, I think Favignano is very happy to see Carpenter and Graham battle as hard as they are right now. That's going to help him pull away, as they are going to have to give up their entry and exit lines when it comes to the racing. And that really does make a difference whenever you have a guy that's mirror driving versus a guy that's out front just nailing their marks. And that's what it is all about with road course racing. You're racing the track more than you are the other guys.
It's very true. You know, and a track like this, you don't need to go rear view mirror racing. You don't need to necessarily worry about where everybody else is going, as you see, as we see another battle forming right here. That's around the 43 of Brown and the 70 of Evans side by side for that top 10 position. Check that. It'll be Brown and Reno battling for position number 10. The AC Delco machine yielding to Joel Brown in that machine. So Score Brown, position number 10, is up front. Again, Favignano is not doing any rear view mirror driving. He's not necessarily worried about the guys behind him. He's more worried about how to manage his car, how to manage his race in order to make this work for him.
And you're hearing that sound, and let's talk a little bit about that. That sound that you're hearing of the tires squealing, that is turned down quite significantly whenever I race, because in the real car, you would not hear it as bad. But that's the only thing. These drivers don't drive by the seat of their pants like a real driver would, as you know, they're virtually racing. So they really rely on the sound of the tires scrubbing against the ground when they're in a corner, based on how much wheel input they're giving it and how much they are using of the tire. So that you'll hear that in the broadcast. That's not something that is normally a prominent thing in the real car, as the engine is so much louder than the tires. But what a difference it makes. You
watched that movie about Niki Lauda, didn't you?
No.
You did? Oh, you didn't? It was a great movie. Great movie. In it, the actor playing him talks about what it takes to be a good driver, and he said you have to be great physically, you have to have a great mind, and you have to have a great ass. You know why you need to have a great ass? Because if it's a race car driver, you want to feel that car giving you feedback as you drive around the track. You want to be able to feel what that car is going to do, anticipate it, and make the move accordingly. So for these drivers, they don't have that luxury. They don't have, as you see the 70 there of Evans get just off course and have to re-straighten it out there. They don't have the luxury of feeling this car adjust and make changes underneath them and get that physical feedback. They have to hear it from the engine. They have to get it maybe from their force feedback wheels, but that's it. These guys are all up. It's all a mental game for each of these drivers, as now your top three so close through the carousel.
And Joe, we have to talk about that. And that is, I was very privileged enough to drive the ARCA car as you're seeing right here on the track in the real world. I've driven this 50 laps around the track of Gateway, and the difference between what you see in a sim versus the racing we see here versus the reality of it, when you get into the corner and you throw that car in there, that car will do more than you mentally are capable of handling, meaning grip is so great over what iRacing provides on the tire model that it will blow your mind. But when you get into the corner, your body is getting thrown to the outside of that corner. It's so hard that you're just hanging on the wheel, holding on for the best. So when I see guys that take sim racing as serious as like Favignano, Carpenter, Graham, Gray, Essery, guys that know how to get around these tracks in a virtual sense, what a difference that is compared to what the real driver has, and losing that advantage of the actual feel. It goes to show just, you know, how much talent's involved.
Oh, absolutely it does. And it also kind of shows you why visual tools and physical tools like iRacing are so valuable, and R Factor are so valuable to real world drivers. You know, it costs money, it costs time, it costs all kinds of things to run physical laps at these tracks. So instead, they can run virtual laps all day long and still get a visual feel, get a visualization of what they have to contend with, get cues from the car, what they have to hear, and get a better feel for what they're going to experience once they're on the track. Is it an actual physical run? No, but it's the next best thing that doesn't cost anything. It gives them the information they need to make those intelligent decisions on the track, and ultimately gives them the muscle memory and practice that they will use when they're racing in order to it can, well, let me put it this way, it'll make the difference between first and being the first loser.
Hey, you know what? Whenever I got to drive one of these cars, it made me go, hey, this seems like something that anybody thinks that they could just get in a car and go do, because, hey, I can drive a car. hey, I understand what this is. Hey, I've done, iRacing. I've done this. But what it did was immediately make me go, this is not for me. This is not the life I want to live. And the guys that are behind the actual wheel of the real car, what a insane ride they have every single lap versus, a normal person that thinks, hey, you're sitting at home right now, even in iRacing. Say you don't own iRacing. You never turned a lap in iRacing. What a difference it is when you actually do it. The actual respect that you form for these drivers is so different than, somebody's just watching this and going, hey, cars are going around a circle.
One of my complaints about the fan base that doesn't like NASCAR is it's like, oh, it's only turning left. How much fun can it be? Well, number one, it's a non-linear sport, so it's not just about turning left. It's about managing your car, managing your pit stops, managing your equipment in order to make the race work for you. And number two, it is very much physical, emotional, and mental as any other sport out there. Sure, you're not running a physical race. You're not hitting a baseball. You're not throwing a football, but you are still fighting that car around each turn. You are taking it to the edge and using your physical strength to make the car go as best as you can. And again, all it takes is one slip of the mind, slip of the muscle, slip of the foot pedal, and you're going for a wild ride that could potentially kill you.
100% right. That is just actually how it works in the real world. And I will tell you, Joe, whenever I was first, my first 5 laps out there, I was terrified of the car. I was terrified of the track. And I was trying to develop a relationship between what the tires and the car would do versus what I could actually physically give input to make it do. And honestly, the car will always outperform you if you are not used to it. So when you see drivers that are pushing cars to the edge, as you see in the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Truck Series, etc., even the ARCA Series in the real world, what a difference that is. But I can tell you, I was so slow. When I saw the video of me out there on the track, I was like, I look so slow compared to, say, the professional drivers that were out there giving rides that day. But to be perfectly honest with you, I'm okay with that. Like, that makes me develop that respect for the drivers that, get these cars around here. So enough talking about real world. Let's talk about sim racing. Is so different. I've driven this car combo with the track combo. This is a very difficult track. And the reason why is because it's extremely flat. But the difference is you have a flat track, but watch, you have all these elevation changes. And when you see guys go over the hill and down the hill, especially down the S's, what a difference that makes. The car is trying to absolutely spin out on you every second.
And those elevation changes do make a big difference as they come around China Beach and into the S's, because every time you make an elevation change, when you go up, your car wants to continue to go up. Physics 101 with Professor Joe here for just a moment. The car wants the momentum of the car wants to continue to go up, so you lose a little bit of traction from the tires, kind of losing that grip off of the speedway. When it goes down, your car speeds up. The force on the car goes down, and it makes it even harder to control. You have to be careful braking, because if you brake too hard, the car's still going to go forward, but it's going to go without your permission. And nobody likes racing without consent.
And no one races without rubbers, and you have to have those. And we will see that later on maybe play a role in this race. These guys are going to have to come down on pit road at some point. They're not going to have a full course caution, even though NASCAR sanctions all the road courses to have full course cautions. We're in iRacing right now. No race control is going to be able to throw that yellow flag. And knowing that, it kind of makes you approach the race different. Hey, if I spin off the course, I get back on the course, I'm losing seconds. I'm losing time. That is track position. That's everything here. So when you see guys like Favignano, Carpenter, and Graham right now, all together, not really pulling away from each other, that means that they're waiting for that guy in front of them to make that mistake.
And that's the biggest thing. Because this track is so mentally draining, you have to wait for the first guy in front of you to make the mistake. Sure, there are passing zones around this track. We've talked about it through Thunder Valley on that front stretch after turn number 1. Great passing zone there. but you can't pass unless that front guy makes that critical mistake. You can't pass unless that guy gives you the opening. All you can do is be patient and wait for the iron to get hot, to strike. And that's why you see Favignano, Carpenter, and Graham have over a 4-second advantage on Charles Gray, Chavez Esri, Schultz, and the rest of the field.
Well, Joe, you know what? We don't normally give out shout outs when we're doing our broadcast and watching everything, but we definitely have to give a shout out to Meter Maid in the Twitch chat, because they have watched all of these races, all these broadcasts so many times and haven't missed a single one of them. How incredible is that? Not only thank you so much for watching what we're doing, but also for these drivers that are on the virtual track and the virtual race cars.
You know they appreciate every one of you watching here tonight on twitch.tv/jfavignano or on the replay at youtube.com/Favignano Live. And we appreciate you joining us on your Thursday night for exciting racing here in the OCRP iRacing League at Mid-Ohio.
You know, one driver I'm keeping an eye on is right here, the 94 of Tyler Schultz. What a great season Tyler has had. Started 7th right now, running in the 6th position, but has had consistent speed week after week. And that's all that matters when it comes to OCRP iRacing.
It's true. Consistency is really what it's all about. You know, you don't have to, the nice thing about racing is you don't have to have an incredible run every single time. You don't have to win every single race. It helps if you win every single race, but you don't have to. All you have to do is show up, be consistent, and consistency wins championships time and time again. Look at Kyle Busch. I want to say, what was that, 2015, 2016, comes off the broken leg from Daytona, wins at Kentucky, and puts together an incredible season for the rest of the year in order to win his first of 2 championships. So consistency is key. You don't have to be number 1 every single week, but if you can continually put together top 5s, top 10s, that'll do you for quite a while, and in some situations get the sponsors' attention.
Well, I can tell you, after seeing so many comments about these broadcasts and the racing that they have seen, there's a lot of people that don't follow NASCAR. They don't even watch the sport in the real world, and they find this way more interesting and attractive to come to every single broadcast. Now, that has a lot to do with you, Joe, and what we do here in the broadcast in trying to provide you with everything that's happening on the track. We don't just watch the leaders all the time. And right now, speaking of which, there's a huge battle brewing back here by Alex Reno, Robert Webb, and Robert Bearder. We're keeping an eye on that as well. But the difference there is virtual racing versus real racing is a very different world. And I totally get it because I love both.
And this is something you and I have talked about extensively behind the scenes, and this is what I truly believe. I'm not going to get on my soapbox because this is not the place, but this is where I truly believe the eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series is missing the point. People get emotionally invested in their drivers. They get emotionally invested in people, and they get emotionally invested in the performance they put together week after week. In the OCRP iRacing League, these are some of the best content creators out there that are not only doing this for fun, for your entertainment, but also are also creating all kinds of other great content for you, for their viewers, for their audiences, and building communities that way. And this is what eNASCAR is missing. They don't have the same emotional attachment. I don't care if Williams or Charlotte GG or whatever has a team, because I'm not emotionally invested in them. I don't know who those people are. They're not, coming into my chat. They're not putting on streams for me all week. So they're missing that. With this, you get that true emotional connection between us in the chat, the drivers in the chat, you guys and your favorite drivers out there. So this is what really the sport of racing is about: creating those emotional connections, building those bonds, and driving a great community. Speaking of community, it looks like Favignano and Carpenter are the only community working in first and second, as Graham now almost 2 seconds behind.
Yeah, Graham is hanging out back there. I think that he knows, hey, I've got to make a pit stop sometime within the first 25 laps to make it halfway. So I'm going to roll back here, let these guys race each other hard, Maybe save a little bit of tire, because guess what? Once you use all the tire that you have underneath your car, you might find the grass.
I mean, you know, how's the old saying go? Ask for grass, nobody rides for free. Well, here, you definitely don't want the third one.
You know, I was following what the drivers were talking about before this race, and one of those drivers was Clayton Cyrus. He said the car drives like...
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's what he said. But right now,
you
run a 16th.
Oh, you little hippos running in that Texaco Haviland 05 machine, driven by a number of incredible drivers over the years. He will continue to run 16th behind the 70 machine of Evans, Alex Reno in that mix as well. We were watching that group build up and pile up and start to race amongst themselves, and I have to wonder if they're running that far behind on purpose as well.
And here is the 22 of Alex Reno off the pace. He's in the grass. He's going to get back going again. That'll allow Kyle Cleveland to get around him. But looks like Alex is going to come down pit road, Joe.
He will be the first to come down pit road. May have something a little bit wrong with his car. May have had a little bit of a collision out there, or just tires. Let's see what happens when he comes to the attention of his crew, the AC Delco Chevrolet machine, now on pit road. No, looks like no quick repair there. It will just be a 4-tire stop and fuel. So traction now becoming an issue for at least the back markers.
Yeah, I was watching those guys right around Robert Bearder and Robert Webb fighting for 12th right now, side by side, and continue to do so. This is the race on the track right now, Joe.
This is the race on the track between that old Sterling Marlin Coolers Light 91 machine goes storming China Beach. Not a good look. And look, there's 05 going down there as well. You heard them complaining about the car. Now you know why. Storming China Beach. They will get back on track, but definitely not the way they want to do.
Robert Webb having some issues there, and so was Clayton Cyrus. When they completed lap 17, they found themselves in China Beach for a reason, but Favignano out front, hanging on to that half-second lead.
Hanging on handily to that half-second lead is Graham now 2.65 seconds back. He is completely out of the picture as Carpenter continues to run on the back bumper of that 67 of Favignano. There's beer in Texarkana, and there's how does the song go? There's thirsty in Atlanta. There's beer in Texarkana. And so Carpenter's doing everything he can to make sure the ultimate beer run is completed.
Yeah, he's going to bring it back no matter what it takes. And you can see he is doing exactly that. Now, that's Clayton Cyrus just ahead of the 67 of Favignano. And that's going to mean a lot, actually, here as they get down into the first corner. As you see, that is indeed Clayton Cyrus just ahead of them. And that'll create a problem because, hey, guess no, it doesn't matter how slow or fast somebody is on a road course. You have to pass them.
Eventually, yes, you have to pass them and you have to get around them. There's no alternative. If you want to win, you have to be the first one off the at the start finish line on lap number 50. And now this door opens up for Carpenter as he could use that 05 machine to get around him, use him as a pick almost if Favignano can't clear the 05 cleanly.
And riding on board with Favignano, you could just see he had a little mistake. The 05 right in front of him. He gets it going, rolling again. But now Favignano is going to be on the defense against the 77 of Kyle Carpenter, not too far behind. And what a difference that makes right there.
So right now, if I'm Kyle Carpenter, the only thing that's running through my head is I got to keep my foot hard on the pedal. I got to never mind them brakes. I just got to let it all out because he's got a run to make. And Favignano is a guy to beat right now. He is smoky, and the Bandit is trying everything he can to get up to him and force him to make a mistake.
He's got his 10 in the wind, let it all hang out again. That's what he's doing right now, and he's behind the 67 by now 0.6 when it comes to timing. Not too concerned about that after they got around Clayton Cyrus. Things spread out a little bit. Graham is 2 seconds back.
Graham now 2 seconds back, and still he's the closest to the rest of those guys. Charles Gray, the 87, 10 seconds back by himself. Chavez Essery, 23 seconds back, working with Schultz, Gould, and Joel Brown in the 43. So now we're seeing everybody kind of break up into mini packs throughout the track. Now you guys have lots of mini groups working together in order to try to run as best they can, try to keep the momentum going. Even though draft isn't as important on this track, it's still good to have people behind you and working with you, because the more you can cut through the air in that tunnel, the better off you can get runs on each of the straightaways.
And let's talk about Essery. What a great amount of speed that he has shown here at Mid-Ohio, and also showed up Michigan and had a lot of speed as well. Got caught up in some stuff, and Orendorff was able to walk away and get the win, but that had to sting to Essery. But good to see Essery back once again in the league, getting it done, staying very strong. But I got to talk about Nick Gould. Nick Gould, one of those drivers that, he's had an up and down year for sure, season, and what an incredible run he's having here tonight, staying in the top 10 and hanging on to that position, but an incredible driver nonetheless.
Our good friend from the true north, strong and free, Gould having a good run here tonight as he continues to hold on position number 7, only dropped 3 from his starting point. But again, still plenty of time to run the race. We still have 31 laps on the field left to go. We're not even at halfway yet. So everything can change. It's all about watching what the leaders do and being able to make adjustments and throw plans based on what they do to catch up to them, to be able to fight them, and ultimately prepare to win this race.
You see, there's a difference between having a 5-second lead on the guy behind you and having less than a second lead on the guy behind you, around a half a second. What pressure that is going to bring to Favignano to make his decisions to come down pit road for his green flag stop. We know they have to come down eventually. When that will happen is up to the driver, and using tire up, using everything they have in their car to make it happen, to get the best stop under green, because we will not have full course cautions. That changes up everything. So much pressure on the 67 and the 77. I think the 88 of Graham knows this, and that's why he's playing a little safe.
Well, if I'm Lenny Favignano right now, if I'm Leonard Favignano the 5th right now, the one thing I am thinking, the only thing that's probably going in my head is Blue Skidoo, we can too. And I say that because he's almost got a second on Carpenter. He's got 3 on Graham. All he has to do is continue at this pace. And guess who's coming back to victory lane? It's your pal, it's your buddy, it's Blue.
And he's doing a great job. They have quite a bit of traffic just ahead of them. And we'll find out who those drivers are here in a few moments. But if we go to the blimp cam, you might be able to see a little bit of how this track works out with these guys. And the difference between the 67 and the 77 here, you can see the difference in braking zones. How much aggression is there in the 77? And that is the 70 of Rick Evans in the grass as they get through that section right there. And looks like the 67 is looking at the outside of him to complete the pass. But we're looking at the braking zones in that blimp camera. The 77 very aggressive on his braking. He's much later and can stick the corner a lot better than the 67. But I think that Leo is taking it easy.
He's taking it easy right now because he's got a second on Carpenter. He's got 2 seconds on Graham, and he's got a time zone between him and the rest of the field. At this juncture, all he has to do is maintain the pace for the rest of the field. All he has to do is make sure that nobody catches him and that he sets the pace for everybody out there on the track. 14 cars now on the lead lap, all of them trying to stay in front of Leonard Favignano as another driver. Whoa, what is that? What is that abomination? That is pure nightmare fuel, Kyle Carpenter. I don't care who you are. I like you, you're a great driver, but that is some straight up nightmare fuel.
I agree. I'm not sure what that is.
I now know my sleep paralysis demon, and his name is Kyle Carpenter. I think that's supposed to be Burt Reynolds.
I think so. Watch his hands into the corner here. So here he comes up to his braking zone. All the way in there, and watch his hands right through the section. So smooth. Oh, there's a little bit of a bobble there, but very smooth nonetheless.
Very smooth as he gets around. That's going to be the that's going to be Bearder in the RAR car. The dinosaur gets sent to extinction as he'll go a lap down now as your top three make no problems sending him to extinction. The dinosaur is dead and Carpenter is back on Favagnano's tail.
That was a good move. Stay out of the way of these guys. They know they have pit stops coming eventually, probably in the next 5 laps, I would imagine.
I think they're going to, if I'm the leader right now, I'm thinking maybe I'll bisect this race. Now, there are good points and bad points to that. Number one, if you bisect it, you know exactly how your car is going to wear down, how the tires are going to wear down. As you see them coming through the carousel, you're going to know how the car reacts as the race goes on. So so that's a good thing about bisecting. The bad thing is if you bisect it, you're now at the mercy of everybody else coming down pit road, everybody else trying to make their stops. You're going to have to race back through the field and wait for everybody to cycle back through before you get back to position number 1. So, so it's not just as easy as I'll pit at lap 25, I'll get new tires, new rubbers, new fuel and be on my way. It's not that easy. It's a matter, you're playing chess at several hundred miles an hour.
Joe, I'm watching Andrew Ewing here. He started in 17th. He's moved up to 6th. And that is not by luck. That's by pure talent and driving to put himself in that position. Now, Joe Brown just behind him and that 43 started 18th. And he's in the 7th position. So these two right here are keeping an eye on them. They're charging their way to the front.
Slowly but surely. And that's a nice thing. You don't have to make all of your moves immediately. You don't have to make every single move on the track in one go. You can slowly work your way up the field. You can slowly make every move on the track as you want to, especially at a track like this. You don't have to pass 80 cars at once. All you have to do is make little progress throughout the field to try to get back up to the leader. Now, in Joel Brown's case, he's 31 seconds back. He's on the other side of the track from Leonard Favignano and company. He's going to be betting on pit strategy, I think, to try to get ahead as now we get ready to start scoring lap number 25. If you're Leonard Favignano, Carpenter, and Graham, when do you come down?
That's a good question because I think that they're going to have to be in a position where they're going to be pressured into coming down on pit road in the next few laps. But Favignano's not walking away as much as we thought he would.
No, he's not walking away as much as we thought he would, but he's also up there with, again, arguably the 3 best drivers in the OCRP iRacing League. So he is in good company fighting for position number 1. And again, this race is going to come down to pit strategy. Who comes down when? Who comes down on pit road as they decide to come down pit road is now Smoke coming off of the turn going into the China Beach turn into the S's. Not sure exactly what that was, but so far the track remains clean.
Well, I can tell you, I see some people are concerned and wondering about where Brandon Buggs and Civ Ryan are. Here comes Carpenter on pit road, going to be the first one down in the lead. This is a big deal to come down on pit road right now, but just wanted to say Ryan's working like 70 hours a week. Currently, they're driving him to the ground before he goes full time with YouTube and streaming this stuff. But I've got to say, with 77 on pit road, this is a big deal, Joe.
Big deal, as the 77 will be the first one to wave his hand out the window. He will get 4 brand new general tire rubbers and a full tank of Sunoco virtual racing fuel before he's down and away. And this could be the move of the race if Carpenter will, one, stay on the lead lap as you see him now come out pit road, and he'll only drop 4 positions as a result of that. This could be the move of the race if he's able to maintain it, as we got trouble now on the front stretch.
Yeah, it's the 51 of Essery right there having some issues. You can see him trying to figure it out. Got sideways off of the corner, sideways all the way down the front stretch. Got into the interior wall there, gets it going straight again. But Chris Essery losing all that track position. That's not what he wanted to see.
Definitely not what he wanted to see. Chavez Essery, one of the better drivers out here. He will drop down to position number 8 after that incident and may have to come down pit road to get a quick repair after that big trouble on the right at the start finish line. So Favignano, Graham, now your leaders. Gray 12 seconds behind, Gould 25 seconds behind, working with Nick Ewing, and Carpenter right behind them as your 2 leaders now down pit road. Favignano, Graham come down first and second, a lap after Kyle Carpenter.
And this is the perfect time for them to come down pit road, because this is going to force everybody to make those decisions. Hey, am I going to come down pit road as well, or am I going to wait it out a little bit longer? Favignano in his box right now, and Graham right behind him. This is a matter of getting into your stall perfectly, because no matter what, you come down, the way it works in virtual racing, the quicker you're on the stall, the better it works out. And it worked out for the 88. Graham now out front of Favignano off the line. And there's Carpenter right there.
Great move by Graham to stay in position number 1, but can he fight off a faster Kyle Carpenter going into the keyhole? Round turn number 2, they go into the keyhole. Graham is holding on to lead. Carpenter's still a half second behind.
I'm keeping an eye on those box times. Now, the difference right here, 14.7 for Kyle Carpenter, a 14.8 stop for Wes Graham. That is the difference. And it was a staggering 17-second stop for Leonard Favignano. Missed his box by that much, and that puts him in third right now. Track position, everything at a road course.
What did we say? Possession is 9/10 of the law. Well, in this case, it is the full law, as Wes the Mess wants to make up for missing last week's race, after being sat for 1 week on the track. He wants to make up. He wants to still show everybody, I am the guy to beat. To be the man, you got to beat the man. Woo!
I'm watching right here. That's Carpenter. He's going to have his hands full right now, holding on to that position of second, because Favignano is breathing down his neck for third. And man, I'll tell you what, when it comes to road course racing, you couldn't ask for a better set of pit stops than that. It was so close.
Very clean set of pit stops. Great driving, great acumen by all 3 drivers. That is exactly what you want to see on a road course, and you really cannot be upset by that. Great move by all 3 of those drivers, and now it will, unless something crazy happens, it will be a battle between them.
Just past the halfway point, this is the time we'll ask Twitch chat that's watching live right now. Put in your picks for who you think's going to win this race, because it could be anybody's. Anybody can make a mistake, throw it off in the grass, and you'll lose everything in a matter of a few seconds. But man, I will tell you what, have a look at the battle behind him. Here comes the 67 challenging the 77 in every corner.
Twitch.tv/JFavignano if you want to watch us live every Thursday starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, or catch a replay on YouTube at youtube.com/Favignano Live. So far, the chat is all about Wes the Mess, Wes Graham. You know, and that's the whole thing, man. The cream rises to the crop, brother. The cream always rises to the top. And right now, Wes Graham, he is the cream of the crop. He is the apex on this field. And you know absolutely, brother, there's nothing anybody wants to do, or anybody can do, to knock him off unless he lets them.
Well, let's talk about that pit road strategy and how different that is. The 77 came down on pit road, and he had a 14.7 stop, but Graham had a 14.8. You might be saying, hey, the 77 should have been there, even though that's a 10th. It does not matter, because the 77 to Carpenter did not make as much track time up as he needed to pass the 88. That's the reason why we're in that position.
That is exactly why we're in that position. But again, anything can happen. Anything can take place. There's still plenty of time to get around this track and race, as you see Favignano going wide off the turn, trying to keep up with Kyle Carpenter. Favignano does not like being stuck in traffic. He does not like being the third man out. You know, if he's going to do everything he can to try to get back up front and going through the S's down Thunder Valley, that could be to his detriment.
And I'm watching the times right here between the 77 and Favignano. Look at the lap times, 128.751 to a 128.703. Who do you think had the 128.703?
I'm guessing that's Favignano.
No, the 77 to Carpenter. Oh. Fastest car on the track right now.
Ooh, that's going to be very interesting as we continue down this race. That's going to be very interesting to watch because if he continues at that pace and these leaders are forced to slow down for incidents or lap cars or what have you, that could play a factor later on.
And watching those last times, that was Wes Graham with the 7:01, but look at Leonard Favignano at fastest time with the 6:74, all 128s to the 8:95 of Carpenter. And Carpenter challenging for the lead.
Battle for first. It's a matter of who's going to break first going into the keyhole. Carpenter's got the line. West of S does not want to give it away. Comes through. Now check that. That's going to be the China Beach turn that they go through. They switch the lines and now into the S's. Graham and Carpenter still side by side. Advantage Graham.
Carpenter on the outside trying to hang on to it. Got loose in the difference between the elevation, but the 67 of Favignano able to capitalize on that move that Kyle Carpenter made on the 88.
Oh, the Smokey got him good as Carpenter smoked those tires going through the elevation change. The S's now in Thunder Valley coming to the carousel. Graham continues to lead after Carpenter made that challenge, and now Favignano on his rear end. Still a battle between three cars, but I'm curious if Carpenter is going to make that aggressive move one more time.
Well, the Smokey and the Bandit line comes to me as he had a lot of friends, didn't he? He sure did, because he was able to blow right on by the mistake that Kyle Carpenter had. And it's not so much a mistake other than the line on corner entry is taken away. Whenever you make that charge to the inside of the 88, you try to take that position away. When you make that left turn, you're on the outside. You're in the disadvantage, and those series of left turns really hurt him.
Absolutely. That's why you have to really be careful about where you pick your spot to make those turns. Coming into China Beach, around China Beach, and through the S's is a very hard place to make those because you're making the left-right followed by those S turns and the change of elevation. Riding on the back of Graham now, you see Favignano trying to make that move, but unable to due to all those elevation changes and the back and forth left-right turns. So really, it's a matter of being careful and picking out where you can make those passes. Now, like I've said before, there are zones you can do it. Thunder Valley going into the carousel, turn after turn number one, going into the keyhole, and before you hit China Beach turn. And once you get in those S's, once you get into Thunder Valley, that's when it gets difficult, and you really have to be careful as Favignano smokes the tires coming in a little too hot through the carousel.
Speaking about smoking tires, right there, we saw the 88 do the exact same thing on corner entry before the S's, but now the 67 of Favignano locks him up, but he's right there, 2/10 off the back of Graham as they come all the way down into turn number 2. Here comes Favignano challenging for the lead.
Thought about it, thought twice about it, did not have enough time coming into the keyhole, or maybe he does. He makes the move under West the Mess, who's been sliding around, almost over-driving that 88 Chevrolet. Not able to make the pass, but he's going to be all over that back bumper as they go all over the road, coming around China Beach and into the S's.
We might as well call Favignano Frog because he's about to leapfrog the 88. He's waiting for that moment he can do it. He doesn't want to use his bumper to do it. He's going to wait for that mistake to happen. It only takes a split second for you to make one mistake on corner entry or exit at a road course before the guy behind you can take it. And right now, Favignano only 4/10 back off the 88.
Here's what I'm curious about, though, as we watch Graham and Favignano go back and forth. How hard are those guys working those tires right now? How much traction are they losing with 20 laps left here in Thunder Valley? How hard are they working those cars, and how much grip are they losing on those general tire rubbers underneath them, and how well will that play to Kyle Carpenter? I like what Kyle Carpenter's doing right now, giving them a little distance, letting them run each other as hard as they can, letting them set the pace, because now he has the opportunity to let them burn off those tires, which gives him a chance to potentially end up winning this race, not by anything else but pure attrition.
And watching right here as they get down into turn number 1, almost side by side. The 88 has the advantage on the inside lane, and that'll push Favignano to the outside. He'll stay single file as they get through that section of the track, and nobody out front right now to challenge it.
Nobody there to challenge it as the two continue to battle back and forth. The 88, the 67, still nose to tail as they go around China Beach and into the S's. Favignano losing patience over and over again. He really wants to get in front of Wes the Mess, but Wes is doing a great job of holding him back, keeping his car in the preferred line, making it as wide as he can, forcing Favignano to overdrive the car a little bit. And as you see him wiggle now, going through Thunder Valley and into the carousel, he's forced him to overdrive that car. He's forced him to make the moves he doesn't want to make, but it will ultimately burn off those tires and could hurt him later down the line. Very interesting to see what exactly happens.
It's amazing to watch Fodder and the way that his racing style is. He's very aggressive. He's right there on your bumper, but the difference is he can overdrive the car. When you watch his onboard, he's overdriving the car. What I mean by that is he's all over the place with the wheel. He's so squirrely. He's got so much speed under him. But the difference is execution. And the 88 is super smooth on that wheel, but the 67 is wild and all that stuff. But man, he makes it look so easy to have so much speed when you're out of control.
That is talent. That is what you and I simply just don't have. That is virtual racing talent. That is smart racing talent. As you see them brake hard coming into the turns there, into the keyhole, I believe. Graham Favignano, no, check that out. That's gonna be the China Beach turn going into the S's. Graham Favignano still nose to tail. And if I'm Kyle Carpenter, I'm enjoying the battle I'm watching in front of me, simply because all this means is all I have to do is be patient and wait for my turn to make that move.
We are literally watching the difference between two drivers and the talent they have to drive a virtual racing car, because a road course brings that out in them. So many mistakes that they put in their brain will be their ultimate demise, but the guy behind them will make equal amount of mistakes. And right now, the reason why Favignano can't get around the 88 right now is because, well, they're making the same mistakes.
What is the definition of insanity? Making the same doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. Well, that is what Favignano is doing right now, as he is side by side. Now Carpenter is going to join Favignano, try to give him the push, but Wes the Mess has the preferred line. He's going to go low. Favignano has nothing to do, but no other choice but to go low as well through the keyhole. And now it's going to make some hard times as Chavez Esri gets way off the road for these guys.
Well, you say he had the preferred lane. He did not. Wes had the lower entry into that corner, but he made it stick. I don't know how he did it, but he made it stick, because any other driver would have made a mistake, wash up the track a little bit there, gave up that track position, but the 88 of Wes Graham did not do that. He entered low and he stuck it all the way around before he came to the outside. And I'll be honest with you, that's very impressive.
Hey, when you've got enough rubber on, you can stick it as deep as you want. Just throwing it out there.
Trojan man.
I should have gone to USC. I knew it. Graham still position number one. Favignano all in the back of him as they go around the carousel one more time to position number two. Kyle Carpenter watching position number three. They've got a huge lead on the rest of the field. Next man up is Charles Gray, 21 seconds behind. Chris Ewing, 26 seconds behind. Nick Gould 40 seconds behind, Schultz 46 seconds behind, and Joel Brown 57 seconds behind, and Jason Lance, the last man on the lead lap.
You know, somebody made a good, astute observation. I love the word astute.
Oh,
astute, very astute. And that was Rad Racer in the Twitch chat said that Favignano is driving like the dinger. Awesome to watch. He is saying basically he's driving like AJ Allmendinger, and I have to agree with you. That style of racing, you know, when you come to a road course and how aggressive you are and how good you are versus the guy in front of you, and you can make mistakes while being fast. That is the 67 right now.
That is the 67 right now. It's racing fast is not necessarily about knowing how to drive fast. It's knowing how to brake fast and how to recover from all of those braking zones and make smart moves with the car you're given. And Favignano absolutely putting on a clinic on how to do that right now as he just rides back and forth across the bumper of Wes Graham, slightly back and forth, looking for every opportunity, every opening to get around him. But Wes the Mess saying, "Nuh-uh, I'm not going to let you make a mess of my comeback race. This is mine to win. Come take it from my cold, dead hands," as they come across the line, 15 to go.
You could literally reword everything you just said.
Well, yes, I'm aware of that. But I choose not to. I know what I meant. I know what I meant, Jeff. But the question is, do you know what I meant?
Oh, I know what you meant.
There you go. Then that's all. Then we're good. That's all
we're good.
Wes the Mess still up front. Favignano in second. Carpenter watching the fireworks in front of him as Favignano once again going to try to make the move around China Beach and into the S's. Goes low, then goes high. Is he going to make the move coming into the S's? He wants to, and he does it. Favignano, your new leader.
What an incredible, he gets turned.
Oh, no.
Wow. And I don't think that Wes meant to get into him right there, but hard in the brakes. You know, that's the difference whenever you cut somebody off like that and you get in the brakes really hard because you have to for the next set of corners. You're not used to that. You were just running the last 5 laps in the same braking zone. That did not play out well for Leo.
Great moves, a great attempt to get the lead, but that did not play out in his favor. And that's exactly what I was worried about. I was worried he did not have the tires underneath him to make that move, to be able to hold on, especially in one of the most technical parts of the tracks, going around China Beach and into the S's. Favignano now is 5 seconds behind and could need to come down pit road after that move. It could open the door for Gray and Company to start making some moves to get in the top 5 tonight. Graham now has only one contender for the lead, and that is Smokey right behind him, Kyle Carpenter.
Well, I can tell you what, I know Wes well enough to know that he did not mean to do that. I know that he's beating himself up right now. He's probably on the radio saying, "Sorry, Leo, I did not mean to do that." I guarantee it. But we have to agree, Favignano made a cheeky move inside so hard in the brakes to go in and through that section of the track that has the elevation. What a difference that is. Well, you have to brake to get in the next section of that course. And if you are off on your braking zone, you're going to touch. And that's exactly what happened.
Exactly. So, you know, it is what it is. We'll make it work. You know, it is what it is. You'll make it work. You make it run and continue. You roll the dice, you know, that can happen. That's just a plain out gamble. He took the gamble. He knew what the risk was, and you know, no one to blame for but himself. But he will try to recover as best he can. And third ain't bad. It's not first, but ain't bad.
Joe, I want to step on a soapbox for a minute and talk a little bit about racing incidents, about all of this stuff, and that is,
preach it, my brother.
Me as the people watching this race. Wow, they made contact, spun, dude. Yeah. How cool is that? You know, for the lead, that's what NASCAR is. That's what all of this is. It doesn't matter. We're road course racing. Throw all the road course racing etiquette in a perfect note. Throw that in the trash right now. This is NASCAR. That's not what happens. You're driving a stock car, a big, heavy stock car around here. You have the brakes to deal with. You have the driving to deal with. It's very difficult to get around a road course. Now, I want to step on my soapbox and talk about the recent incidents with Bubba Wallace and Kyle Carpenter, and the difference there, or sorry, Kyle Carpenter, Kyle Larson, same driver. No, I'm kidding. The difference there is that this is NASCAR. Nothing has changed in the real world, and when you see it here in the virtual world, it's the same thing. They have a very difficult car to drive around each other, and when you push it to the limits, wow, talk about taking emotion and taking all the people, because I know right now the 88, I know Wes enough. Right now he's beating himself up to the point it will ruin his race. He will do that. He shouldn't do it. It's racing, man. Things happen. Let it go. Continue to drive your butt off. We've seen every single lap out of you tonight that's proven that.
The words and opinions expressed by Jeff Favignano do not necessarily reflect those of his sponsors, of iRacing, or anyone else involved.
Well, they should.
I'm not gonna get necessarily involved in that. That is a whole can of worms that I am simply
not. It's just NASCAR, man. It's been happening for years.
As we see somebody now in the wall back there, that is, I'm not sure who that is.
Mitchell Calvin, and that's 78.
Well, that is a shame. He's gonna come back on track in the Phonetic pink for breast cancer awareness machine, currently running in, I believe, position number 19. Yes, 5 laps down on the field, having a hard run on this track as he will slide into the sand pit there, and that could be his night. Meanwhile, back up front, Graham and Carpenter still first and second, as Chavez Essery, no way to get back on the lead lap now. There's no lucky dog because there's no full caution or full field cautions out here. No way to catch back up. And if there were, Jeff, we would be sitting in Caution City right now.
Yeah, people are talking about the 5 car. We have no 5 car here. That would be Kyle Larson, and I would agree with you. Yeah, they probably are. But right here in 10th is Chavez Essery. We saw him off the pace during that battle, but the battle was way more important. Yes, he did. But currently, if you're following along with Chris Essery, he's right now 1 lap down, only 9 cars on the lead lap right now, Joe.
The last one of those being the 86 of Jason Lance. He's going to come up to your leaders here pretty quick, as Wes and Mess looked like he spun them a little bit coming through the carousel and now to the start-finish line. 11 to go at this juncture. Graham Carpenter running first and second, and Fonterero 6 seconds behind, but don't count him out, Jeff, because he still has the opportunity. If one of these two guys make a unforced error, these guys could easily yield to a Fonterero one more time. So Fonterero back there simply is asking, do you yield?
You do not, sir. Ever.
And I think, yeah, Graham and Carpenter are the clear answer is, unless we make an unforced error, we do not.
I think that is the most interesting part about real racing versus virtual racing is the mindset of the driver behind the virtual race car versus the mindset of the driver in the real car. Hey, guess what? It's racing, man. Things happen. Carpenter now challenging for the lead.
There was only a matter of time as they come into the S's off of the China Beach turn, and Smokey smokes Graham coming off the turns through the S's. He will be your leader. Started first on the pole and is back up front. He may have a little bit more grip than Graham does. Let's see how Graham responds going through Thunder Valley.
And I really hope that Graham isn't overthinking the move that he had on Fonterero. Was very close racing. We saw it. It was through a section of elevation that makes the car very upset. And if Fonterero outbraked him by a margin, what a difference that makes, and that's contact. And that's what I want to talk about with, real world racing. With this racing, it's margins. It's a margin of error that can make the difference. But guess what? There's no other driver on this track that feels remorse like the 88 of Graham, and I honestly believe he shouldn't. It's just racing. Going into it, you make those daring decisions and you make those moves across somebody's bumper, and hey, maybe that guy hasn't been behind me for the past 10 laps. He doesn't know my braking zone. That as a driver going into these corners, if you can actually clear them. And Carpenter right now walking away.
I'm not going to play the church organ music for you again. Next time we go to soapbox, I'm done with that. But that being said, as I've said a million times before, it's just pixels. It's just, it's just emotions. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets killed. Nobody gets injured. You're not putting, you don't have to spend money to repair a race car. It's simply virtual racing.
We need a NASCAR podcast.
We do. We do. We absolutely do. I'll get my people in touch with your people.
Okay.
We'll make that happen. As Carpenter now starts to get some pace on Graham and the rest of the field, he is now almost a second away from Graham. And now it looks like the
8 laps to go here.
8 laps to go here. As I can't think of the word. It'll come back to me.
The prophecy has been fulfilled.
The prophecy has come true. The self-fulfilling prophecy for Graham has come true. I think he just ran out of tire. I think he spent too much time fighting Favignano, and now he may not have the tires underneath him to continue to fight with Carpenter and ultimately win this race as they come now around to the 22 of Alex Reno.
And like I said, you walk back to the part of emotion, and you see emotion in the real world racing circuit, but you see it in iRacing as well. And I was talking about it in a way that maybe it's not fair enough. I think Graham probably felt that and then moved past it because that's what you should do in that position. But these guys are full of emotion. We saw Orendorf last week, and you saw me full of emotion as a commentator for him to get a win. Like, the difference there is between winning a race, because these are amazing drivers. They're so hard to beat. I've raced against these guys. They're very, very, very good at what they do. It means everything to get a win. It doesn't matter what it takes to get that win. We've seen that throughout this entire season. But it doesn't matter. Getting that win is the win. The feeling that you get is raw emotion. It has to be.
Of course it is. A win is a win. And I will tell you, I only have one win in my career at a super speedway. It's also the reason why everyone's asking me when I'll come back on the track. I'll never be on track with these guys. They are simply too good for me.
In the All-Star, you need to race.
Maybe.
I think.
We'll see.
Well, you know what? We got Thrustmaster sponsoring us here. We'll get you a wheel. We'll get you on the track. I promise you.
Well, it depends if Hebrew National comes through with that check or not.
They won't, but Thrustmaster will, and we will get you a wheel.
But again, I'll have my people call your people.
Okay. You don't have to call very far. Send me a text.
I know where you live.
You do know where I live.
Yeah, there's that. Well, you know where I live too. So
you have my cell phone number. You can send me a text. But outside of that, no, we will make that happen. If you want to be involved in an all-star race, you will absolutely be in there.
Wes the Mess now storming China Beach. Big misstep for him as he goes off the turn, back on track in front of Alex Reno. He recovers in time to get in front of, stay in front of Lenny Favignano. But the question is, does this open the door back up for Favignano? Rare misstep for Wes Graham.
Favignano just a few sections behind him where he is located right now. I don't think that's really going to matter that much, because I can't find the actual high-low. There it is right there. It's gone. But Kyle Carpenter right now is the one to keep an eye on, because this is everything as he overdrives the corner and smokes him.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. You got a beer to deliver there, big guy. You can't make those mistakes. You've got 7 laps left to go on this track, scoring 44 of 50. You don't have that much time. All you have to do is keep running your race, be able to keep it straight, and you can win this race. The last thing Carpenter can afford right now is another major misstep like Graham or Favignano had earlier in the race.
Yeah, keeping an eye on Carpenter. Carpenter right now is 8th in points. He is not for the points battle at all. He's had a great year so far, but it doesn't matter. He's still 8th in points. That's why consistency in your finish matters so much for the championship. So this would be a big day for Kyle Carpenter right now, sitting 232 in points versus the 290 that Wes Graham leads.
But the thing is, he's got to hold on. He absolutely has to hold on to that car. 7 laps to go at this juncture. And if he makes a mistake, if he goes sliding into any part of this track, it will open the door, and he could lose this race just as quickly as he was leading it. So here is the challenge now. It is less about the other drivers around you. It is now more mental. It is now more emotional. It is now keeping under control those key emotions and being able to think rationally about how do I win this race. As a good friend of mine once told me, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And that's exactly what Kyle Carpenter needs to do for the next 6 laps.
All right, Joe, you have the call for the next couple laps. I'll be right back.
Oh, boy. Jeff leaving me unattended with his chat. How you guys doing tonight as we go 6 to go? Carpenter leading the field. This is all me. Thank you, Dumpster Dog. I am genuinely terrified. I don't know what to do here except just hold down the talk button and keep on talking. Carpenter through the keyhole. Very smooth, very smart. 5 seconds ahead of Graham, 8 seconds ahead of Favignano, 18 on Ewing, 87 on Gray, and 42 on Gould. Last man on the lead lap remains Jason Lance, who they should be coming up on any time now. Duddy Narwhal offering to pay Tony to make a paint with all of the sponsors that I supposedly have. My sponsors are not very happy with me right now, but we'll talk. I may have some new guys coming on board here very quick. Jeff has that effect on me. He brings out the best in me for some reason, and every time I end up working with him, I make money. It's very strange, as now you see Carpenter looks like he is catching up to Jason Lance. Lance wants no part of this. He's going to go wide, stay way away from Carpenter, give him the preferred line, and it will put him a lap down, but it doesn't matter a whole lot at this juncture because, oh no, I don't believe that was Lance. Well, in any event, he does the courtesy, gives him the lead lap. No, that was the 89. Check that. That gave him that courtesy, gives him the lead line, gets him down and away, and we are down to 5 laps to go. Carpenter in the lead.
5 to go. Graham 5 seconds back to the 77, and what an incredible race the 77 has had. It's been beyond good, and he's coming upon Rick Evans and company right now. Looking at the scoreboard, 9 cars on the lead lap. Jason Lance, the last one to keep an eye on right now, as Rick Evans is 2 laps down, with Mitchell Calvin 11 laps down after that mishap from earlier.
Did you go refill your beverage?
I did not. I went to the restroom because I'm a human being.
Yes, and a magnificent one at that. Carpenter continues to lead. 9 cars on the lead lap. They should be coming around to the 86 of Lance at any given moment now, as now they're around the 70 of Evans. He's 2 laps down, so not a whole lot affecting him at this juncture. 5 to go on the field. So let's see if Evans will give him the courtesy as well. Let Carpenter around without any issue. It looks like, yes, he is going to pull low and he will let him around. That will be the courtesy for the leader. Smart move. Appreciate that move. And Carpenter continues to put time between him, Graham, Favignano, and the rest of the field. Only 9 lead lap cars on the field, and Carpenter will continue to count down the time as we now score lap 47 of 54 to go.
With literally 3 laps to go. I'm sorry. When I was just thinking about it, and I thought of the interview that Bubba had with the media, and he said, "Quit fishing, Joe."
I'm not fishing.
We're always fishing for a story, and we're going to have it tonight, and that is going to be what the heck just happened in the last 10 laps, because a lot has happened. The Carpenter right now leading the field by 6 seconds now.
Folks, stick around for the post-race show presented by Next Level Racing, as I got a feeling Jeff and I might go a little heavy tonight, if you'll indulge us, talking about NASCAR, talking about the racing scene, and all kinds of fun stuff. And, of course, interviews with the top 5 finishers tonight. That is the OCRP post-race show presented by Next Level Racing.
Indeed, and we will talk to these drivers, and I'm sure that it will be just fine. But let's keep an eye on the 77 to Carpenter. What a great season that he has led so far. Pulling up the points. This would be a huge
huge jump for him in the field if he's able to complete this, as the AP now projecting him to win if nothing crazy happens. So far, in 6 races scored, he has 1 pole. This will be his 2nd of the season, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and this would be his first win of the season, putting him in rarefied air with Ryan Steinhoff, Austin Johnson, Nick Sargent, Leonard Fodorero, and Wes Graham, all scoring a win. He could be our 6th unique winner of the season if he's able to hold on.
Let's see if he's holding anything back. I have a feeling he's not, because to be fast at a road course and the way the Carpenter is, you're not holding a thing back. You're driving this car to the max.
Push it to the limit. That's how the song goes, right?
Welcome on the razor's edge. Yep.
Something like that.
You can admit it. Woo-hoo.
And if you're Carpenter right now, you don't necessarily need to push it to the limit. All you need to do is keep a 5-second lead on Graham, Fodorero, and the rest of the field. Popsicle sticks will come out this time by once he gets through the carousel, down Thunder Valley into the carousel. 2 to go when we get to the start-finish line. Popsicle sticks will fly. And if you're Carpenter, these next 2 laps should basically be a victory lap, 2 victory laps for you. You got the beer, you got that Coors Banquet in that car, you're at the state line. All you got to do is keep it going straight, keep the hammer down, get rid of the brakes, and coast that car to victory lane.
And we have to talk about the guys that are just behind them. Andrew Ewing, starting in the 17th position, is running 4th right now. What an incredible run by Andrew. And Charles Gray in the 5th spot right now in the 87 car, the W87. But out front right now, we got to keep all of our eyes on Kyle Carpenter. He cannot make a mistake.
No, he cannot. He cannot afford to make a mistake, and this is the crucial area of the track we've seen so many people wipe out in, coming around the keyhole into China Beach and then across the S's. If he's going to make a mistake, this is a prime real estate for him to do it in. Able to clean through China Beach that time around. Can he clear the S's and the elevation change? Survey says yes, into Thunder Valley for the 2nd to last time. Carpenter holds his fate in his own hands.
And what a great job he did on Graham. Almost 7 seconds between Carpenter and Graham as he's trying to complete this lap to bring it to the white flag, which will be 1 to go, but he has to get around the 4 of Bearder to make that happen.
He does now. He technically doesn't have to get around Bearder to make that happen. All he has to do is keep the car clean and keep it going straight. 1 to go, presented by Thrustmaster. White flag out on the field. Next flag ends it. Well, I guess whoever crosses the first ends it, because there are no full field cautions out here tonight. Let's see what he does, though, around Bearder. Can he make the RAR car extinct one more time? Yes, he will, as Bearder will gladly give him the preferred lane going in. And now he's just got 1 more pass through dreaded China Beach and into the S's.
And if you want to see the difference between 7 seconds, there he is right there, and Wes Graham behind him just now exiting that turn. That is the difference between Kyle Carpenter and Wes Graham, and all the difference that was needed. And to be honest with you, Graham had to run a perfect set of laps to stay out in front of the 77. He made that mistake and got in the grass and slid across, and that lost so much time as we have no full course cautions. But the 77 to Carpenter hanging on to it right now. He has a few more laps or a few more corners to go before he can put this one away, but anything can happen here, Joe.
Clumbs through the S's cleanly. Now 1 more time through Thunder Valley into the carousel. It is Kyle Carpenter's race to lose as he cleanly goes through the valley, now into the carousel for the final time. 1 more left-hand turn left to go, and Kyle Carpenter will be your winner in the OCRP iRacing League race at Mid-Ohio.
And what an incredible run that he had. And he just completed that last lap to get the win. That is Kyle Carpenter, your winner here tonight. Wow, wow, wow. And what an upset that was between the 88. We'll have to talk to the 88 and the 67 about that little incident that had occurred earlier. But the 77 able to capitalize on a mistake that the 88 made in the grass. Drove it across there, and that's all that it took for Ban 1 to get the win.
So Kyle Carpenter, after having a great run last week at Michigan, he will walk away your winner. Papa Coors Banquet for Kyle Carpenter. Smokey outruns the Bandit, and he will be your winner tonight. 6th unique winner on the OCRP iRacing League Series. First one this year for Kyle Carpenter. Started on the pole, his 2nd pole of the season, and he will walk away with the checkered flag.
Joe, you think he's excited? It looks like he is, because he's about to break this car sideways in every corner I've seen so far. As he drifts around that corner right there, he's going to try to get over there.
He's having fun right now. He is just celebrating in that Pontiac Firebird. A very unique paint scheme on that car. Look at him just taking every inch of the road, sliding it, getting it sideways. He is having fun. Watch for him to burn down those General Tire rubbers here on the front stretch. As Kyle Carpenter, you've earned it. You've deserved it, big guy. Take that burnout. Take that win. You've definitely earned yourself a big victory lap here in Mid-Ohio.
Incredible run by Kyle Carpenter. We've seen so much speed out of this driver the last few weeks. And for him to connect it all together and get a win is everything, especially at a road course. And you know what, Joe? When it comes to iRacing, getting a win at an oval track is versus a road course, what a difference that actually makes.
Oh, absolutely. Ovals, ovals take talent. Don't get me wrong. They absolutely take a lot of talent to work, to race, to move around. But a road course is something special. It's something we don't see on a regular basis. It's something we don't always get to treat ourselves to. And because it's so unique, it is so different than running oval, it really does take a lot of talent, and it's something incredibly special when you win it. So Kyle Carpenter absolutely deserves the celebration tonight. That is a big show for him, and he's earned every minute of this celebration.
Well, we have to talk about something that happened right towards the end, and that was Wes Graham pulling over to let the 67 by to take the second position, and the race results will show exactly that. Kyle Carpenter takes the win here tonight at Mid-Ohio. Leonard Fodero will get second position because Wes Graham gave him the position back on that last lap. I don't think Wes has anything to apologize for. I don't think he did anything wrong. But moving on, Andrew Ewing. Then we got Charles Gray, Nick Gould, Joel Brown, Tyler Schultz, Jason Lance, and Chris Chavez. SRE rounding out your top 10.
The rest of the field looks like this. Robert Webb picks up 8 positions, start 19th, will finish 11th. Kyle Cleveland finished dead last on this field. He will finish position number 12. Robert Bearder picks up 2 positions, finishes in 13th. Alex Reno drops 2 to 14th. James Hilton drops 4 to 15th. Clayton Cyrus will also drop 3 positions, started 13th, run 16th. The big loser in this group, Austin Johnson, the 21, started 9th, will finish 17th. Rick Evans, Mitchell Calvin will finish the field positions 18th and 19th.
Yeah, Brandon Puggs and so on did not take time, so they are not part of that. Let's go talk to some of these drivers after that race. What an incredible one it was. We'll be right back. All right, we have to talk to our winner, Kyle Carpenter. What a great run you had, man. I know this has been an up and down kind of season for you. So close to getting so many victories, but tonight able to pull it off. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, I had a good race. Being able to keep up with Leonard and Wes there the whole time, that was a lot of fun. All 3 of us, racing together the whole time and all that. During the pit stop, I didn't take a full tank of gas. I took just a little bit. I thought I might have took a little bit too little, and I had like 3 laps of the good at the end of it, so I cut it really close, and then it was just so hard to pass, And I was second going in the pits. I was thinking maybe I could come out first, and And then I come out behind Wes instead, and then tried to make the pass on him. It didn't work, and then I fell back and just trying to keep up and trying not to wreck the car at the same time. It's really hard to drive with this setup, but I had a lot of fun.
And it definitely showed. Kyle, tell everybody at home right now that's watching live, hey, how do you celebrate your win? It's not your first win in the OCRP series, but how hard it is to actually get a win here, number one. But two, how do you celebrate?
Just I just do a bunch of donuts and then take a bunch of pictures and savor it, because it's really hard to win here in the series, especially on Thursday against Wes and Leonard and a bunch of other guys in here that are really fast, and they come up so close so many times, and then to finally get it and on a road course is kind of out there for me, but just kind of cherish it.
For mentally, what is it like to get a win after you get the pole?
It's actually, I forgot about that now that I won the race. The pole was very surprising to me too. That was, I almost missed turn 2 driving it in so hard just to get that first lap. And just had to race these guys hard all race, and they had to have things go your way, and it finally went my way for once.
Well, there you go. Kyle Carpenter started on the pole, will get the finish in the number 1 position. Moving on, got to talk to Leonard Favignano.
Hey, Jeff,
Leo, yes.
Before you, real quick, I have one question I need to ask Kyle.
Oh, have it.
Are you celebrating tonight's victory with an ice cold Coors Banquet beer?
I don't have any, but I might have a little bit of
shame
moonshine
on
in the
you.
fridge.
For shame. Just lie to us.
Shame. Lie to us.
Yeah, I guess next time I have to put Coors on the car.
Okay, that means that he has Coors in the car and that he definitely has a Coors Banquet, and he's going to enjoy that ice cold beverage. But moving on to Leonard Favignano, started second, finishes second. Leonard, talk about how hard it was to pass here. You guys, all three of you were out front, and then that contact in the section that had elevation. Tell us about what happened.
I gotta unmute myself. That passing here was a challenge. It was definitely ridiculous. You practically had to have better tires in a turn. You have to perfectly hit the braking point like I did, trying to make the pass on the 88 there in the hill portion. But you had to be perfect on the throttle, and you had to not lock up the tires. You do that, you mess up your whole turn. You hope the whole apex gets messed up, and once you do that, you lose a lot of time, and it's just not healthy for the lap. And then the contact up the hill, it was frustrating. I cannot lie. It was definitely frustrating because it seems like I'm being more of a bumper every week to everyone, but for them to slow down, but I mean, at the same time, it is a racing incident. Just starting to get a little irritating that it's being consistent more and more now throughout the weeks. So hopefully next week it's a little bit clean, but again, it's just racing. And,
well, you talk about frustration. The next 5 races we have till we get to the championship, does that change the way that you approach these tracks and how much room you're giving the other guys?
Well, it's like last season I didn't give enough room to many people, and it was a deal for a lot of others. But I start giving more room. It seems like the more room I give, the less room everyone else gives, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna change my driving style because of incidents on the track, but if I gotta do it, then so be it. I mean, I'm not gonna by all means, I'm not gonna wreck anybody. I'm not gonna intentionally spin somebody out. I don't ever want to do that. But if I have to give them absolutely zero room for them to possibly have to live to give me the position, then I will absolutely do it in these next 5 races. I am not going to give much room anymore.
Well, there you go. Leonard Favignano starting second. He will finish in the second position, and we have to catch up to Wes. Sorry to bring you into any kind of drama that there may be in this league. I know you're absolutely over it, and there is no drama there. What a drive you had. You were up front all day. You finished in third, and you pulled over and you let Leonard by you. Tell us about that, those last few laps.
I ruined his race. He should have won the race. And he slammed the door on me going up the hill, and I went for a gap that closed very quickly, a little too quickly, and spun him out. And even if he was running second, or even if I was just coming off suspension or anything, I would have let him have the spot anyway, because I felt bad about it as soon as it happened. He has been a punching bag this entire season. He got so much crap from everybody else in previous seasons, and now he's the punching bag, and nobody seems to care. But I do have a little bit of heart left in me.
We definitely knew that, and I knew the moment that it happened, I was like, I know Wes enough to know that he's probably beating himself up over this. He should just drive away with it and just do his thing. But when you're in a section like that, whenever somebody's closing the door on you, making a bold move, and you get into the elevation, and you're having to deal with not only what the car's going to do in elevation, but also based on your driving style, and you have so much on the line there with your championship. Walk us through that.
I mean, he should have walked out with a couple of points on me, and at least he got to come out with at least one on me. These next 4 races are going to be tight. I missed last week and gained 7 points on him because he had a bad showing at the end of last week's race. So, I just moving on. It's always been game on. I'm always out here points racing to begin with, but I ran my line that I normally ran the entire race. I noticed Leonard and Kyle were kind of throwing a wider apex onto the top of the hill, and I was running the rumble strip most of the time, putting my left sides on it, at the crest, and I went to go hit my same line again after missing it, and after the pit stop, it just felt like the tires just didn't want to exist underneath of the car there. Still a really fun race to drive. I'm amazed that I got to keep maintain pace with Kyle and Leonard there at the beginning of the race. But got to thank Tony at WMD Paint Shop for my paint, and look forward to going to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway next week.
Well, I'll be absolutely biased because I am a biased person when it comes to iRacing, but because I was jumping up and down and about to cry for Jonathan Orndorff to get his win last week. But I will be biased and say, if it wasn't for you 3 out front, we would have fallen asleep up in the booth. So we appreciate the racing that you guys provided. It was incredible. Thank you. It was incredible, and we really, really are looking forward to the next few races we have to go. And your mindset right now going into this with the championship, are you worried about all the pressure that people are putting on you, and like, hey, we expect more out of you to do this on a weekly basis, and how does that affect you going into the championship where you win nothing?
There is nothing to put on me. It's just go out there and try to do what we've been doing all season and get top 5s and top 10s, try to maintain the gap. Let's see, he should be 8 ahead of us now. So we got 7 spots to give him. So as long as we can stay there these next 4 races, or we can finish ahead of them in 1 or 2 of these, then that is how it is. I mean, it's literally for nothing. It's just, we're just out here trying to have fun, I guess. Some people are taking it a lot more serious than others, but it is what it is, man. You just go into each race and just try to do your best. Just try to have fun with it. If you're not having fun, then can't help you.
Well, Brandon Buggs wasn't able to make the race tonight. Does that make you feel better about yourself? Were you expecting him to show up and destroy you all, and you could never ever pass him again? Were you happy about him not showing up tonight?
No, I wasn't. It kind of it's aggravating, but if he's not having fun out here, then don't show up. Everybody's their own person. I would love for everybody to show up to every single race and race everybody, in every single race. But, sometimes it's either they don't have the track or it's not their particular style, the stock car road racing, it's tough. But, if you don't treat it like a GT3 or LMP2, then, you can actually get around the place. But, I hate it when anybody doesn't get the chance to show up. I hate Orndorff wasn't here. I hate that I wasn't here last week to congratulate him, in person for his win. Hated, anybody misses any kind of time here. I want everybody out here. It's no fun with 5 people. I'd rather we have 20, 25, 30, and we get to throw down and then have conversations afterwards and move on with it.
I totally understand. And I was only just giving you some crap, and you must know that. I was just only giving crap about that. But I got to say, awesome job tonight. What an incredible race we saw in the top 3 specifically. But Joe, I wish I could talk to Andrew. I wish I could talk to Joel. There's a lot of people I want to talk to, but I'm going to leave it over to you, buddy.
I appreciate you giving me a little bit of courtesy there. Let's talk to Andrew Ewing. What an incredible run for you, Andrew. Started 17th in this field, towards the end of the field, finishing top 4. What was the key to slowly working your way through the field?
Thanks, man. Yeah, good night. Sorry to Austin there. I had a bit of trouble. I got into the back of him early on in the race, but really just taking your time, easy on the throttle, easy with the steering inputs seemed to be the thing working for me. But just took my time with it and let it come to me. But overall, good night, so can't complain.
How hard was it to let it come to you? How hard was this track to work together and ultimately let it come to you? This car is notorious for being a little difficult to drive, albeit being underpowered. What did it take? Was it just simply discipline? Was it mental acumen? Was it attention? For you, what was the secret?
I guess it's a little bit of all of it. It's like driving in the rain with no tread left on your tires. So sort of took it like that. I'm being from Ireland, I'm used to plenty of rain, so just drove it that way.
He's no stranger to the rain. Andrew Ewing, our hard charger of the night, coming from 17th all the way up to 4th. Another man who's no stranger to the rain or making hard charges, it's Cold War, Charles Gray. Started in 5th, dropped back a little bit, and ends up finishing in 5th. Tell us about the run. Tell us about your car, and how were you able to basically maintain top 5 all night long?
These road courses are just about consistency, man. But I realized there was no way I was keeping up with Leo, Wes, and Kyle. Kiflam, indeed.
Kiflam, my brother.
When I realized I wasn't keeping up with them, it was just kind of hang back, save my tires, and then I think I had 10 seconds to them and then like 15 seconds to the guy behind me. So I was just on an island. So I could just kind of drive my own race. I didn't really have to contend with too much till the end when we got up to lap traffic. But it was just kind of, hit my marks and just focus on what I was doing and take care of the car. It was pretty much like a Sunday drive out there for me. There wasn't too much going on.
So looking at the rest of the schedule then, what are you most excited about? What are you most apprehensive about? And, what is your goal then moving through the rest of this season?
Just trying to be consistent. I know I've missed some races earlier in the season due to work and kids and things like that. So I'm just looking forward to getting out there, seeing what I can do, competing, seeing where I can place. Definitely looking forward to Homestead. I've had some pretty good success there in the past. Just got to learn how to save my tires a little better. And then Indianapolis is always a blast. So those 2 tracks really looking forward to. Nashville, not so much, but we'll just have to see how it goes.
Charles Gray turning in a top 5 finish tonight. Started 5th, ended 5th, and overall great run for him. Jeff, let's let them get to the drivers' meeting tonight, shall we?
Absolutely. Let them have at it, and we will move on with our lives as we probably should, and everyone else should as well. Mr. Joe.
Present.
What a great race it was. You know what? I thought I was going to fall asleep tonight. I didn't.
I thought you were going to fall asleep tonight, but you didn't. I'm very proud of you. Most of all, I'm proud of the OCRP iRacing League. It's been a tough couple of weeks. There's been a little bit of strife. There's a little bit of drama on the field. And, as we've talked about over and over again, it's pixels, man. It's fun. It's racing. It's going on track with your boys, having 2 of the best commentators in the world make bad jokes at your expense. But overall, being able to simply have fun with everybody on the track and drive an incredible amount of fun for everybody on the field. You know, it's good to see the league is coming back to what it used to be. A bunch of guys who love hanging out with each other, who love telling stories and love the sport of racing, really enjoying everything about it and having a lot of fun with it. So it's really exciting to see them come back to that. I'm very proud of the OCRP iRacing League for coming together once again to put on an incredible show, not only for each other, but for you, the audience who join us every Thursday here on Twitch TV/JFavignano, or later or post race on YouTube at youtube.com/Favignano Live.
Hey, look, I'm going to be the first one to say that I called it 100% that Wes would allow that into his brain and go, hey, I'm not that good. I wrecked Leonard, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to make it ruin my race. And it did affect him. It shouldn't. He did nothing wrong. It was a racing incident in a elevation part of the track on a road course. And Leonard Fodorelli gave him no room at all. I could see his frustration about it because he's ultimately the one that got spun or hit, but he didn't give Wes any room when it came to a braking zone. I think a lot of people forget that a braking zone matters so much to a driver of, you know, you've done the last 20 laps doing the same thing over and over again, put somebody in front of you and they hit the brakes a little harder than you do, and boom, you hit them. Yeah, it can ruin you in the way you think about the rest of your race, and we saw that affect Wes. But talk about him pulling over and letting Leonard by and giving him that position. I can't leave this broadcast without talking about that and saying, hey, that means everything. He knows points are on the line. You think ego is a thing or points or whatever. It's not. When you see somebody pull over and let them by, go, hey, I made a mistake. Here you go, man. You can have second. It's all good from here. I hate seeing drivers beat themselves up. They have no reason to. We saw Nick Sargent beat himself up after Irwindale getting into the wall and wrecking Leonard Fodorelli. We moved past it as people. We're all friends here. It's a good time in the OCRP league. That's all that matters. When I see drivers beat themselves up, it kind of hurts me a little bit, you know?
I understand where it would, and I don't have, I don't have anything really to offer that suggests otherwise. I think the biggest thing that everyone, again, needs to remember is nobody is injured. There are no injuries as a result of this incident. That nobody dies, nobody gets injured, nobody is forced to take time off for concussions. There's no ramifications from lost budget or lost sponsors. This is simply at the end of the day, this is simply pixels. It's lights and wires in a box. And although we try to use this device to teach, to illuminate, and to inspire, it can only go so far as to the means that we allow it to do so. So my message to all the competitors of the OCRP iRacing League, and maybe even to the greater iRacing community tonight, is simply this. Enjoy what you're doing. Have fun with it. Laugh at each other. Give each other a little bit of grief, but all in good fun, because life is too short and life is too serious and life is too precious to hold grudges over pixels. Enjoy it. Enjoy the life. Enjoy the living. Enjoy the running, and most importantly, enjoy the ride. Enjoy the camaraderie, and as we do every Thursday, Jeff, we'll be back here to drop the green flag and say, let's go racing, boys.
Absolutely. And you said it best. And this many people to come together in one evening and to share this experience on a virtual track is already amazing enough as it is. The camaraderie that is behind the scenes is insane. After the Irwindale, people are like, oh, that person doesn't like so-and-so. If you could hear the drivers' meeting, if you could hear what they had to say, they're nothing but supportive of each other and like, hey, mistakes happen, dude. Don't beat yourself up. There's no big deal. Blah, 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 blah. We had people, every time somebody makes a mistake in this league, they want to quit. And the reason why they want to quit is because of the eyes on them and people scrutinizing them for every move they make on the track. Guess what? I've been in that position. I've been the one behind the wheel. I've screamed and yelled. And I said, hey, guess what? If I called you a moron tonight, I'm sorry. You're not a moron. But I probably said it while I was racing, because when you're racing, it's a very different mindset. I don't think a lot of people really understand that truly.
But the difference between you and me versus them is that the scrutiny is more in their head than it is from the court of public opinion. When you and I do it, we get a lot more scrutiny because, number one, we have larger communities, and number two, we have larger expectations from those communities. Jeff, you know, throughout this entire race, you've had 400 viewers, which is incredible on Twitch, may I say. You've got over 14,000 followers on Twitter, not to mention your millions of followers on your other video channels. So yes, when you and I do it, we should be held accountable for it. We should be held to a different standard. But when they do it, it's racing. It's racing with friends. And to those who would scrutinize somebody that's just having fun with their friends, it's just driving on a Sunday night, get over yourself, man.
Hey, welcome
there
to
are
our
much bigger problems in the world to solve.
Yes, and welcome to our podcast, because right now we're basically having a podcast, but I will tell you, I remember whenever, I had my first like 2,000 subscriber thing or 10,000 or whatever it was so incredible. The fact that 1,000 people, and there's more than that, there's a lot more than that watch this and follow this. How incredible is that? But I think that there's a lot of pressure put on the drivers to perform in a certain way. I like seeing the personality come out. I like seeing people get emotion and go, hey, I'm sorry for doing that. Or, hey, I didn't mean to do that. Or, hey, oh my God, I want to race. Jonathan Orendorff last week, like the emotion that came out of that is so incredible. And I know what that's like. I've been there. I've won races in iRacing, and they come so small versus the amount of time you put out on the track. So when you get a win, it's big. When you're so close to, you're in a competitive state where you hit somebody and you beat yourself up over it. Don't forget the fact that how incredible it is to be on a margin of something that is, like you said, a light in the box. What a difference that makes versus what everybody else thinks until they've actually done it themselves.
And I agree. And we have some people here in the chat saying competition is competition. Airport Stretch saying competition is competition, whether it's between pixels or composite materials, and it brings out real emotion. You're absolutely right.
Oh, I'm competitive. I see people being like, Wes is so competitive. I'm like, dude, I'm competitive. I know what that's like, especially in iRacing. I'm very competitive, and I take that shit to heart. You shouldn't. It's not that big of a deal. Try saying that to somebody who just went through what they did.
You know, I mean, and I've been there too. You know, I'm just as competitive. It's what really forced me to take a year off of streaming, because I was so competitive and I was so driven by the approval of my audience. And it's like, you know, I can't keep up with it. It's not healthy for me. I'm not saying competition is bad. I'm not saying do not compete. I'm not saying
have a heart.
I'm not saying, don't be excited about the win. Don't be frustrated when you lose. Don't be frustrated when you get wrecked out. And I'm saying that perspective is necessary in everything. And that's a lesson that has taken me 38 years to learn.
Hey, and the fact that we even get to cover drama when it happens, I love it. I'm like, it's fun. It's fun. It's like, it's not even drama. Because every single person in this entire league, I love and respect, and I've talked to them on a personal basis. Like, I hear the voice and I'm like, dude, you're a real person. I love that stuff, and it's incredible. And I think a lot of people take that away and go, hey, so-and-so is popular, screw them. So-and-so is popular, screw them. And you put 3 or 4 drivers that are popular together against each other, that they don't do that themselves. I think it spells toxicity.
It can. It absolutely can. And when you turn it into a popularity contest, when you turn it into I have more viewers than you, or I have more this than you, or I have more wins, that's when toxicity absolutely bleeds in. And that's the last thing you want to do, especially, in gaming. Nobody dies. Nobody gets injured. No cars are destroyed. It's gaming. It's, Now that being said, if there is real world money on the line, if there is real world sponsors, hashtag not hot sponsored by Hebrew National on the line, if they're dropping money based on my performance, then yeah, I would put pressure on myself to perform better, and I would absolutely beat myself up if I'm not performing to my best. That is on me, and that's incumbent upon me to fix, whether it's one way or another. But in this league, there's less of that, so it can be fun. We can enjoy what we do, and there's nothing wrong with enjoying it. It's a matter of, can we what can we do to make it better at the end of the day?
I will say this. This is the 11th season we have done this particular league, and I can tell you 100% that the drivers in this league take what the outside world, because we put them on a platform to watch them race together in a broadcast, but the outside world puts so much pressure on these drivers in an insane way that shouldn't happen. They're incredible people. They really are great people. And when you get to know them, what a difference that is in how I personally broadcast, and you do as well. Like, holy crap. I hate bringing up this or this or this or this, but I will, because that is what this is. We want you guys to care about the guys that are behind the virtual cars out there on the track. And I'm sorry, but there's a lot of emotion behind there, and I totally get it. That's the biggest thing I'm trying to take away from this is like, hey, there's a lot of emotion here. These guys love this so much, but the biggest picture that a lot of people miss is they love each other.
And I think that's most important to everything else on there, is they love each other, and they are genuine. And when they do something bad, they are genuinely concerned. It genuinely upsets them that they do something bad. So the best thing you can do as viewers, as people who are emotionally invested in them, as their friends, is continue to encourage them, continue to remind them, we had fun watching you. This was a great race. You did well. Even though X, Y, and Z happened, you'll get them next time. If you really truly enjoy what you're watching, if you truly enjoy the league and are enjoying what we're putting together out there, go on social, tweet these guys, go to their communities, catch their streams, and just tell them, hey, we had a lot of fun watching you. We're rooting for you. We're behind you, man. That's the biggest compliment you can give them. We are ancillary to that. We're simply presenting the work they do in a fun and informal way. But those guys, they truly deserve your support.
I agree. And we're going to send you guys over to Moonhead that runs Mooncar,
Oh, yes.
a massive iRacing deal over there. They're doing Miatas at Martinsville. It's an incredible race. Go show them some love from us to them. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. We really, really appreciate it. You're awesome. What a great time we had. Thank you for hanging around for the post-race show. We'll see you next week, and have a good night.